All right, people, let's do this, America. That's right. It is Saturday, December 5th, 2015. I am Mike Sevilla, and of course, you'll see our good friend Sean P. Dent on Twitter. How you doing there, Sean?
I'm well. How about yourself, sir?
All right. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about things. I'm trying to remember how to do this thing on Blab because it's been a while since I've been, but I'm back on Blab. And right off the top, I want to give a big shout out to our good friend Nurse Pammy, who was watching us live on a Saturday night.
Pammy's a very dedicated fan.
That's right. We appreciate you, Pam. Or else it would just be Sean and I talking to ourselves, and
That'd be okay too.
that'd be fine too. So how's it going there, Sean? It's for December. You probably can't be complaining about the weather too much.
No.
A year ago, you're probably in like 15 feet of snow. And how much snow have you had up to this point in December?
I don't even think you can call 2 inches. Not even 2 inches. Like the two times that it has snown, the snow was gone by the afternoon. So no, I'm keeping a very closed lip this season. So, but also I don't really care if it snows or not because I'm heading to Mexico in 2 weeks. So,
wow, we're gonna get into that.
No.
But a peculiar thing this morning and through the day here, Sean, and you probably saw it driving around too, is this: we got this fog going on. And the weather people are going nuts here through the day because tonight they were calling it freezing fog.
I was just going to ask you, what the hell is that?
That's right. Yeah. So it's fog at the freezing point. And actually I had a couple of friends who were out driving, and they said, "Oh, hey, it's a little bit slippery out here." So yeah, it's kind of interesting here in Northeastern Ohio.
This entire Eastern career heard of freezing fog.
That's right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What is it going to do? Is it going to ice the roads? What's it going to do?
I don't know.
I'm going to be I'll be out on the roads early in the morning tomorrow, so I'll let you know.
Big shout out to Mike Phillips, who's joining us. Hopefully we can keep him entertained enough to stay around, but hey, we really appreciate you just stopping by. Yeah, we're just kind of catching up here at the beginning of the show here, and haven't been blabbing for a while. And I'm really enjoying your studio there, Sean.
I like that.
So it's a good time. And I saw you earlier today. Just I don't know what you were doing. Maybe you were editing some things, or maybe you're just on Facebook, just kind of hanging out. So good times. And Dr. Josh from Atlas MD is also hanging out with us. Thanks for joining us here. So yeah, let's kind of get into things here. I know you were working for the Thanksgiving holiday about a week ago, and we'll get into that because I know you had a little podcast about that. I don't know if it was a rant or just sharing what was going on, but I had a great Thanksgiving, and so my wife's family and my family are in the local area here. Close to Family Medicine Rocks World headquarters, and you probably saw it on Facebook there, Sean. My dad, he is really enjoying. Every year, there's a tradition. He likes to carve the turkey, and for people who don't know out there, my dad is a retired surgeon. He's been retired for about 3 years. He was in practice for about 30 years, and I recorded him.
You can take the surgeon out of the OR, but you know. It looked like he was thoroughly enjoying dissecting that turkey.
That's right. So in case people don't know, let me just kind of paint the picture here. First, he was wearing gloves. Okay. So I got a lot of Facebook comments that he was wearing gloves, and every year he gets the electric knife out. And that's just one time a year that he gets that out there, and I recorded it, and people keep telling me that it was very efficient. He was very efficient. Every kind of cut he was making they were going to invite him out to their place. So maybe I can have my dad go out. Maybe he can just make it a business or something like that, going out and carving people's turkeys.
I'm currently stalking your Facebook, seeing if I can find that picture. Was it a video or was it a picture?
Yeah, no, it was a video. It was kind of like a hyperlapse type of video.
Yeah.
It was 2 minutes condensed down to like 15 seconds for the video. So yeah, he does that every year, and he would just so happy. He was like, "Mike, stand by." I'm like, "Okay, Dad, I'm standing back.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I recorded?" He was like, "Yeah, just stand back."
He was a general surgeon, or
he was an ENT surgeon, ear, nose, and throat surgeon.
All right.
So yeah, so that was the big highlight of the day. And obviously, went to my in-laws, went to my wife's family, and that was a good time there too.
How long did it take him to actually cut that turkey?
Probably between 4 and 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So he has a certain thing that he does every year, which I guess is a surgeon thing. So he goes to
there it is. I found it.
Before that, he starts off with the leg and the and the wing and all that stuff, but you got the highlights there for those 15 seconds. So that was a good time.
Yeah.
But Sean, you were working.
I was.
Yeah, you were working 5 days or 4 days out of 5.
It was only five in a row. So it just happened to be my turn. I mean, you know better than anybody that working in healthcare that the hospital and the ill don't take holidays, and we don't have holiday specials where people get to go home. Caught a little flack for that on my Facebook fan page, which was actually kind of entertaining.
Really?
Yeah. I never shared that with you, did I?
No.
So my Facebook fan page is mediocre at best.
Yeah. How many mediocre. Facebook fans do you have there, Sean?
About 1,800.
Oh! 1,800. I'm glad you didn't give that up.
Yeah. So 1,800 fans. And it's I can't say we won't go into how that happened, but regardless, 1,800 fans.
That's right.
And I posted a picture. Trying to find it quickly. I posted a picture. It was a meme, one of those memes, and it was the Heath Ledger meme that has his face like this when he was the Joker.
Right. Okay? Right.
And the meme said something along the lines of healthcare workers, servicemen, military men, paramedics, firefighters work every holiday, work every weekend, but retail workers have to work this holiday and everybody loses their mind. Okay. Something like that. And my Facebook fan page just exploded. I'm going to try and find it for you because it brought in quite a bit of attention to my post, and I want to see if I can find the actual number, because like it was mostly humorous. The whole point of it was humorous, but people took it to a different level. Some people got very, very offended by it. Here it is.
So it was you're presuming it was somebody who's in retail who was venting about your statement. I don't think you were complaining. I think you were just
no, and it wasn't even mine. I had shared it from somebody else, so I didn't even create the post. I just happened to find it, thought it was humorous, and decided to share it on my Facebook fan page. And I'm trying to find the stats for you. I'm looking at it right now, and I had 52 comments. It was shared almost 3,000 times.
Wow.
And I'm going to have to go into my stats on my stats page. It's going to take me a little bit here to find it, but I have to share it with you because it was mind blowing the amount of people it reached. It was upwards of like 250,000 people.
Wow.
It was mind-boggling. Yeah, and it obviously struck a nerve with everyone in the healthcare field. But then the conversation kind of veered into got a little volatile because, quite honestly, to compare retail to healthcare is not a very even comparison.
Right.
We chose this profession, and we knew ahead of time that we would be working, the holidays, whereas retail is not a life and death kind of employment.
Right.
So it was amazing to see the different kinds of reactions. Trying to find it for you.
And you were also saying, in some of your recent shows, that you were kind of expanded that out, to, people in healthcare and first responders and those, who are, policemen and women and EMTs and all those type of, I like the term service
service personnel,
personnel,
or a service profession.
Yes,
because you're talking about pre-hospital, hospital, paramedicine, firefighters, policemen, military, you name it. So those who are in charge of other people's lives. How's that?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you talked about it on your change of shift kind of monologue. That we all of us who are these service people, we signed up for this. We knew that sometimes we have to work on days where other people are off, and it's just part of the job, and none of us are complaining about it. But it's something that just happens. But it was really interesting. I did not see that shared photo.
It snuck through. So I just found the stat. So just to put things in perspective for you, just because this is just mind blowing to me, is that when I share a post or I share something that isn't even mine, that isn't my original content, that if I share a popular picture or something like that, it might garner 1.2K. Okay. It might on a good day, maybe up to 4.2K sometimes. And that particular post that we're talking about, 271,000 people.
Wow.
It reached 271,000 people.
Wow.
It was mind-boggling. And I did not have any intentions of doing that. It quite honestly was. It came across my feed. Haha, that's funny. Let me share that. Shared it and moved on and didn't think twice about it. And then it was like a bolt of lightning. It was ridiculous. So that honestly was the impetus for the podcast episode that I did. Was concerning the fact that some of us don't get the holidays off. But the nice thing is that for those of us who work in healthcare, I don't know about you because you don't actually work in the hospital. You work most of you do go to the hospital. You work a lot in the office though. On Thanksgiving Day and on like the holiday, some of the best meals I've ever had have been when I was working. Because of the potluck dinners, and you get to go pick and choose. So if you work in one area of the hospital, you can just go take a walk down the hall or go to the next floor, and there's a whole nother potluck dinner going on over there. So
yeah, I've learned that through the years. The people that work these holidays, they make the best of it. Yeah. Sometimes they make the best of it in the cafeteria, but sometimes they make the best of it in their break room. Whether it is that they bring stuff in or they make it festive. And I have been lucky enough sometimes to be invited into some of those things. Which I know it's a privilege. It's not something that I really expect, and it's really cool going in there. And I feel like I'm like going behind the curtain and like invading. Oh.
Hang in there. Are we fighting a cold?
No, I think we're fighting the beverage, and this show is brought to you by Great Lakes Christmas Ale. That's our beverage for the evening.
Seriously though, what's wonderful about the holidays is that you get to spend it maybe not with your family by blood, but you get to spend it with the family that you spend most of your days with, is your work family. So, you do make, like you said, we make the best of it. So I know that most people don't understand it, but the hospital is a very different place the day of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but it is. So, as much as everyone likes to complain, oh, I had to work on the holiday. I mean, it's really not that bad. It really isn't that bad. I mean, not unless you're used to working a Monday through Friday job and you've had every holiday off your entire working career. I've worked shift work my whole life, so I'm quite used to it.
And I remember when I was back in training, whether I was a student or newly minted doc, where you're low on the totem pole, and you have to work most of those holidays. From a pure learning experience, sometimes those are the coolest type of cases, because even now when I have students in my office, I tell them stories when I was a student myself, or when I was first in training at Thanksgiving or that Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where this really cool case came in, which I can't share on the air, but I did share it with them. And some of those things that you really remember through the years and say, hey, that was my first case of A, B, or C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those make really cool stories, but I can't share any of those. I'll tell Sean after the show. They are not,
No. So you're dying over there, Mike. You're dying.
I know. That's why I don't blab a lot, because I should cut myself off.
Is it bad for your health?
That's right. Oh, and I also should give a big shout out to the people who gave me my hat. That's a little bit of a story about a month ago. There was a family doc group in Canada. I think the Alberta College of General Practitioners, GPs, sent me this hat because the second week in November was the National Family Doctor Week in Canada. And they sent some docs around the world. They sent me a shirt and they sent me a hat, and this brilliant marketing to help tweet that out and put it on my Facebook page and stuff. So shout out to them. It's pretty cool stuff. And hey, this is the time of year for it. So
sure is.
So I try to wear this wherever I go. So.
Do they call that passive marketing? I wouldn't know anything about passive marketing at all.
Yeah, check out the Change the Shift podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and wherever you can find your. We're on the title for this show is Coughing Mike and Coughing
It reminds me of was it Wayne's World?
That's right.
Was it in Wayne's World?
That's right.
Yeah. The sponsor spot with the Pepsi Cola can and was it Dorito chips or something like that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, have you ever watched anything from Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yes. No, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's crazy. He's nuts. He has a lot of energy. And I have to take a nap. Because he is. I actually when I started doing some of this, not the blogging part, but the podcasting part, watched a lot of his stuff. And for people who don't know, I mean, one of the pioneers when it comes to video podcasting and marketing. I've read all of his books as well, and he's a great guy. I mean, I've never met him. I would love to meet him. Yeah.
So he the reason why I think of him is the whole product placement. Every time he used to do a video, there'd be a product sitting on the table, so it's marketing 101. I'm learning, slowly learning.
Yes, yes. So yeah. What else is going on these days? Doing all right. I mean, I see you've on your Facebook page, and I think on your Instagram too. You yourself have gotten back working out in the gym and doing some stuff too. Is that right?
Yeah, so I fell off the wagon, but not intentionally. Just, I think everybody has that. I interviewed a prolific podcaster, Kate. She's with the EO Fire, the Entrepreneurs on Fire. Do you know anything about that?
No, just from
Probably
listening
not.
to your show.
Yeah. So she made a comment about how she had quoted a book, and I can't remember the name of the book right now, but every time you say yes to something, you're passively saying no to something else. So I said yes to ramping up things with the podcast and my online presence, and also had a couple professional responsibilities that came up and a couple professional opportunities that came up. So my fitness took a back seat to all of that. So yeah. And for anyone that knows anything about me, fitness and my exercising is quite important to me. So for me to actually choose to do something other than go exercise, it was huge for me. So
Oh, cool. And I think you post that on your Facebook page too. That you're a trainer and a coach.
yep.
So I mean, you do that all the time, like on your free time, like on the weekends when you're not working. I mean, you're
I
doing all
used
that.
to. I used to. So I've dialed that back a bit because I just have other things that are going on. So I still coach. Like all week, I've been off work all week. And every day I've been in the gym coaching, and then of course, working out whenever I can. So, yeah, I tell you what, I wish I could get paid the way I wish I could get paid better money to coach, because I really do love it, but I don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can, definitely relate to, trying to get back.
Yeah, I saw a couple pics of you.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's great that you say, you say yes to one thing and then everything else. You have to say no to something else. And I've kind of let my activity kind of, go by the wayside a little bit. And I'm always inspired by people like you, and also by my wife, she tries to be active every day or most days of the week. And I always, and as a lot of the people do, put up that barrier that, oh yeah, I'm working and not a lot of time, and we all run into that, and I run into patients with that, and sometimes you just have to kind of talk the talk and walk the walk, and just try to get back to things, and it's very, very challenging, as you know, and as soon as you get back into that habit, build that good habit of activity in your life, and watching your diet a little bit more, things just start to get moving. But I just haven't gotten over that hump yet. I'm just trying to
It's a landslide, though, isn't it? It's I haven't felt that feeling in a long time, where I didn't work out for a number of days, and then that days turned into weeks, and then the week turned into a month, where I basically worked out for a day or two the whole month. And then it got comfortable not doing it. And it was like this weird shift in my head. I went from every day I did something, or I was planning on doing something, and went from that to I can't get there, to, you know what, I don't really feel motivated, so I'm just not going to go. And now I can kind of understand how it's so hard for people to do any kind of exercise. I'm not saying you got to do what I do. As long as you're moving, as long as you're improving your health in some way by moving your body, then that's the best you can do. But it's like a black hole, man. You tumble down, you go down the rabbit hole, and it takes a long time to get back out.
It is, and Yeah, and I just tell, my patients, just do something,
Hmm.
just do something, whether it's, just taking a walk, or, you don't have to run a marathon, or you don't have to, swim 50 laps. I mean, just get active, and sometimes, we just have to take our own advice, and just kind of just make the time to do it. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to just make the time to do it. I want to try to do that now. With January coming up in just a few weeks, everybody's going to have that.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that type of
The re-
thing, and
the resolutioners.
right, and that's probably a whole show in itself. But I mean, it's
Oh
just
yeah.
trying to, just trying to get
I
active
think if
again.
you can, convince yourself that for this amount of time, this number of days, you're going to do something no matter what, and you have a backup plan. So if you're like me, I love to go to the gym. I can't work out at home. So I know I shouldn't go home after I've done something. I should go straight to the gym, because if I go home, I'm not going back out, So you have to create a habit that's gonna leave you no option but to do some sort of exercise, And I mean, it doesn't even have to be that. It could be, I'm going to promise myself I'm parking farther away from my building today, so I'm walking farther. Or I'm promising myself that instead of taking the elevator up all 6 flights, I'm going to take 3 of them and walk 3 of them. You gotta start small. I mean, you got to do it at levels of fitness. And I'm the worst at that. I compare myself to what I used to be, and it ends up depressing me and upsetting me. And I'm not what I used to be. I never will be. So I am what I am now. So, and I'm improving. I'm trying to be better than yesterday.
Oh,
That's
sure,
really what it
sure.
is.
And I'm not either. And it's not even like 10 years ago, like 2 summers ago, I was
Yeah.
really doing a lot more than I am now. And it's just kind of thinking in your mind that, you're not going to be there tomorrow. You're not going to be there in a week. But if you're just sitting, on your couch, not doing anything, you're not going to get any closer. So,
Correct.
uh, it's
Yeah.
just, it's just tough.
It really is. But you know what's really humbling is that when I show up at the gym and I know of a number of families that have 2 and 3 young children and 2 parents who both work full-time jobs, and they find a way to get to the gym for an hour, 3
Yeah.
days a week. And so then my excuse is invalid, you know. I work a full-time job, and hey, you know what? I have a podcast. Or, I work a full-time job and I coach. It still doesn't matter. I don't have kids. I
Right.
don't I don't have a family of 3 or 4. So my hat's off to those mom and dads who can do that, or even the single parents who can do that will
Hmm.
show up and bring their kids with them to the gym. So that's kind of why I do what I do, because they really literally are my inspiration, is that, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
So,
and I have these silly little rationalizations in my head. If I don't go for a while, I'm going to go there, and people are going to bust me or yell at me, or all that kind of stuff. But when you go, and I know just when I get there, people are so welcoming and say, "Hey, Doc, how you doing?" and "How you been?"
you
and
judge yourself though.
exactly, be like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, glad you're." Well, they say, "Well, glad you're back. We haven't seen you in a while. We were worried about you. How you been?" And then you catch up a little bit, and then you do your workout. When it's so it's just a stupid little thing, so stupid little self talk in my head, that
Hmm.
I do at certain stages, that I put barriers to myself, and they're just silly. They're just dumb.
I mean, the battle we have in our head is way worse than the battle with our body every day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that's really what it comes down to, because people often make the excuse they don't want to feel embarrassed, or they don't want to. I always tell everybody that I've ever coached or ever trained, fitness is ugly. It's just that simple. Anyone that looks good while they're trying to improve themselves, they're not working hard enough.
Right.
You need to embarrass yourself. You need to to let it all hang out in order to get better. And those are the people that get better. Is those are the people that I admire. Is when you have that obese guy or that obese woman that shows up, and regardless of how slow they move or how hard it is for them to get from point A to point B, they come back every day because they want to improve themselves. Those are the people that inspire me, not the ultra athletes who their full-time job is to work out. That's not hard because that's your job. So it's the mom and the dad, and it's the person who's overweight. It's, someone, who has a lot of responsibilities that can't get there the way they want to, like me and you. I know I want to get there, just have to figure out how I can manage that with my schedule.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, some good comments in the chat room. I mean, Lee is saying, I had to go from being an ultra cyclist. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Trying to take a short walk every day, have to change your goal. So, and you just kind of reevaluating things.
It's a domino effect, though.
Yeah.
If you can do it one day, or if you can do something small consistently, it builds up. It slowly gets you more. You get to do more, or you make more time. You rearrange your priorities, and like I said, it comes back to the yes and no. You start saying no to other things so that you can say yes to your health and your fitness. So, yeah.
And then, I talk to patients a lot about this too, whatever kind of habit you want to build or you want to break. I mean, if I've had, people who've been longtime smokers and say, hey, it took you a long time to get to this point. You're not going to break it tomorrow. You just have to take small steps. And, if people are at a weight they don't want to be, it took you a long time to be at this weight you don't want to be. And it's going to take a long time for you, to get to the weight that you want to go,
The darn microwave generation, man. Everybody wants it instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask your opinion. I mean, we're totally going spontaneous here. We've never talked about it. Sean, what do you think about, effects of like The Biggest Loser and those type of shows where it's kind of boom, instantaneous? Do you think that's had it's like a negative effect on people, or do you think it's motivating, or does it depend on the person, or am I just totally making all this up?
Yes, to all. I do not agree with any of those shows of The Biggest Loser because they give the false sense that everybody can do that. But that's their full-time job. So they're doing that. They go to a camp. You can lose anybody who has the will and the desire to move more than they did yesterday is going to attain their goal. In that particular scenario, it's about winning a very large sum of money. So your motivation is very valid, but how do you do that afterwards? That's why I don't like the 30-day challenge, the 60-day challenge, the 90-day challenge. I don't like challenges that have time frames because what do you do when it's over? 90 days are done. You accomplished your goal. So now what? Now are you just going to go back to what you were doing? I guess, the 90-day challenge is because it's supposed to create new habits for yourself so that you don't go back to your former person. I think it's ingrained in everybody's DNA. You either have it or you don't. You're either going to find it within yourself to improve your situation or you're not. I mean, is it hard to make the connection with those individuals who are successful are also those individuals who are usually the most healthy, who have the least amount of medical problems because they take care of themselves in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying they're going to be ultra athletes, but the more successful individuals know how to prioritize and have time management skills. So I have a hard time wrapping my head around people who say they're in their situation because of a passive reason. You're in control of your life. You get to choose. There are individuals out there that have less money than you, have less opportunities than you, but find a way. Right. So If they can find a way, so can you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I talk to people all the time who talk to me about, things like, weight loss medications or weight loss surgery, and I totally get, there are people from a medical standpoint, who, require that type of stuff.
but it's to
Because
save their life.
right, because they have done virtually everything else.
Because it's because of end organ damage, they have to do it.
Right.
I will absolutely agree with that.
Right, right. But there are other people who say, "Hey, doc, can you just, give me this,
Yeah.
this weight? I just need something to get me over the hump.
Yeah.
I just need, and then I will do everything right." I'm like, really? Um, and from an insurance standpoint, about 5 years ago, it was a lot easier to get a lot of this weight loss surgery. More approved. But now, I mean, there's a lot of steps, a lot of hoops to jump through, which I think they should, because I mean, I think they have to, people have to show that they're really serious, because weight loss surgery is it's not like a hangnail.
No, it's a lifelong commitment.
Yeah, and you've probably seen people where you
yeah.
work in your ICU, that are complications from some of that surgery, and you've probably seen a lot of ugly stuff. And I've seen a lot of ugly stuff on the bad side, and I've also seen good, stuff on the good side. But I mean, it's not a benign thing. It is a huge, enormous step for something like that.
And a lot of individuals approach it as a quick fix, or the lazy man's fix, when I think the weight loss surgery is harder on someone than taking the time to lose it appropriately. I think, like you said, there are individuals that qualify. You have someone who's severely overweight and it's risking their health, and they're having severe heart problems, or take your pick on an organ that they're damaging. Then I think if they haven't tried everything else, then sure, surgery is it for them. But I think, barring them having to be admitted to the hospital because they're that sick, I think they need to go to a cardiac rehab. I think they need to slowly try and lose the weight so that they don't have. I mean, surgery is just so risky. There's just so many things that can go wrong when weight loss is as simple as, moving more and eating right, learning how to say no.
Exactly.
No to the bad food, and no, I'm not going to sit down. No, I'm not going to not get up. Those kind of things, Once again, I think it's ingrained in our DNA. At what point in a human being's life do they consider it acceptable that they're so overweight that they have to have surgery, they have to have knee replacement surgery because they have damaged their bone? The strongest bone in their body is failing because of the weight that they carry around their waist. When is that not a red flag? And it didn't happen overnight. I know it didn't happen overnight. So yeah, I have a very curt and obtuse outlook on it, and it's over after years and years of treating them on both sides, both pre and intra-hospital wise. I was overweight. I know what it's like to be overweight, and I know it's possible to fix it without surgery and without pills.
Right. I mean, it's just having a self-motivation, having a team around you who are encouraging you.
I agree. You gotta have the support system, and I sometimes fail to recognize that part, and I admit that I'm bad at that.
Talking about getting back to goal setting, our new friend Lee Kreider on Twitter. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis in 2001. At first, I gave up and did nothing. My lung doc encouraged me to set realistic goals. It wasn't easy. So yeah, I mean, you need that support system around you. And unfortunately, the other side of that, if you don't have that support system, then that's kind of how you end up with these bad habits.
Yeah.
Whether it's weight or whether it's substance, abuse or use. That's kind of how you get there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting, because people are, some people are just judgmental and say it has to be this and do that, and the complexity of people, whether it's their motivation or the team around them or their upbringing, kind of makes it very difficult to kind of sort through a lot of these things. And it's easy for people to be in their ivory tower and judge people.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking with people, I know you've talked with people, but you probably talk with people that you train with, or that you train, or even people that you work with, or patients and families. That as you start to peel away some of those layers of the onion, when it's maybe it's just it's not about weight. It's about a lot of different things.
Yeah,
And
the weight was the result of something else.
yeah. So thanks, Lee. Hey, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
Great
dude.
comments. Yeah.
Gotta love Blab.
So let's switch gears here. So let's talk a little bit about our trips. Over the past few weeks, we talked about them prolifically on our Twitter feeds because basically we were just rubbing it into other people that we weren't working.
Exactly.
So about a month ago, I was down in the great state of Texas. And I know you were in Dallas, but for something else. But
Yeah.
But I was in Houston. I was never in Houston. I was the guest of the Texas Academy of Family Physicians down there, and they invited me to go down and speak about social media and family medicine. And it was at their annual meeting. And they're right, Sean. Everything is bigger in Texas.
Bigger in Texas.
That
also
was
kind of hotter. It's very hot in Texas.
It is.
I didn't realize that.
I've done a lot of speaking at a lot of state chapters for my professional organization, and that was the biggest one there. And they know how to do a state meeting, state level meeting, and obviously got to see a lot of my peeps down there, and it was fun just kind of talking with people who are not people who I've ever met before, people who are not kind of in the organizational leadership structure, just kind of grassroots family docs. I talked to a lot of them who were just down on the border right there in Mexico, talking about how they're doing family medicine and primary care right at the border there, and the stories that they have, Sean, it's just amazing. I mean, I know you've talked to nurses all around the country and around the world, and it's just
so let me interject. Do doctors do the same thing that nurses do? And I only, I'm, as a nurse practitioner, I'm kind of floating into the doctor's world a little bit, but whenever nurses meet from different states and different areas of the world, we end up talking like, and I compare this to, the military telling war stories. Do the doctors do the same thing that nurses do? Because when nurses get together, we tell, the horror stories about that one time with that one patient, or the first patient that this happened to us, or the worst GI bleed we ever had. And we would tell comparison stories. Oh, mine was worse because of this, and mine was worse because of this. Do doctors do that at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a sense of pride when they do that, and with Texas and with Mexico, in the news and all the current events and all the political stuff, just taking all that away, the stories of. I have a couple of good friends who work the ERs down in that area, and they talk about traumas, they talk about things like gunshot wounds and those type of things down there, and I'm glad you guys are down there. I am totally spoiled in northeastern Ohio. I admit that. I'm proud of that. I'm glad you guys are down there. They also deliver babies down there. And props and respect to all those people.
The primary docs still do deliveries.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Down in that area. Yeah, down in that area. They do. Basically because they can't get anybody else to do
I
it.
was just going to say because of location, because of the lack of support, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Lack of infrastructure and funding,
So
and
they're the only gig in town for like miles and miles.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they tell their stories down there, and I just like sit there going, "You did what?"
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it's not just me. It's like people who, as you know, Texas is a huge state. There's people up from Dallas and Houston. They're like, "What?"
That's
all
great.
all those border docs, man. I'm like, hey, props to you guys. Glad you guys are down there.
Wasn't there
I could not cut it if I was down there.
there was a prolific doc that was on Twitter that had a blog? Wasn't he a Texas doc that lived down there? Something meat.
Oh, moving meat.
Wasn't he? Was he from Texas?
I think so. I know. Grunt Doc is an ER doc.
Okay. Yeah.
Who I think is in the Dallas area.
Yeah. I mean, it's been years now, so everyone's kind of moved on. So we're a dying breed.
And I got to meet one of my good friends who works at Texas Children's Hospital down there, Dr. V on Twitter.
Okay.
I first started meeting up with, back in the old days.
Oh wait, what's his full name?
Yeah, Brian Verderbedian.
Yeah, yes.
33charts.com.
Yes.
We were on a panel back in the old days, back in 2008 and 2009.
Blog World? Was he a Blog World?
It was Blog World. Yeah,
yes.
it was on his panel. Yeah.
I followed him for a while. Yeah, I haven't seen him online in a while, but my Twitter feed is now very noisy. So
he doesn't post much. He retweets a lot. So he doesn't post as much as he did a few years ago. And we got to chat a little bit, and he's actually written a real book. And he's in the process of writing another real book.
Speaking of which, I'm waiting for your book.
My book is on my blog, drmikesfeld.com. It's a digital book. But it was interesting talking to him, like working with a publisher, working with a literary agent, like real stuff.
Oh,
and I'm like, wow. I'm like, how do you do that? And he's like, I get up at 4:00 in the morning, and write a few hours, and then write a couple hours, and go to work. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
How do you? I mean, you got to be
dedicated.
You got to be dead. I'm not that dedicated, man.
Dedicated. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag in any way. I've considered writing a book, but mine would be like an ebook, or it'd be like Nurse Eyeroll, Katie Kleber, who wrote a book based solely on all of her blog posts.
Yeah.
So I've considered doing that, but not to write a full-fledged cover-to-cover real book with a publisher.
He told me the commitment that goes into that, and I'm like, man, not me, man.
I'm hesitant to even start a book as an ebook because that's an undertaking. Let alone do it like for reals.
Yeah. I mean, I've written like 2 blog posts in a month. I mean, it's all like, how can I write an ebook?
I love how every time you and I meet, you get the motivation to write a blog post, and then it just dies off again.
Well, that's kind of part of the show tonight. I'm like, we got to do something. I'm off. I'm working next weekend. You're off.
Yep.
The stars are aligned. We should just get up and chat about stuff. But
Blab. Blab like came out like a racehorse, and then it's just kind of veered off a bit. I still think it'll be around, and I still think it's way better than Google Hangouts.
Right.
I think everyone's going to use it, going to utilize it in a different way. I mean, it definitely, it got me back into podcasting. So
right.
I'm thankful for it, but it has its utility.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Farrell's wondering what in the world we're talking about.
This is total randomness.
Total randomness. If you remember, we can actually change the topic. Hey, speaking of which, did you see the little the / thing on the send a message thing? Have you clicked that yet?
No, I haven't clicked that yet.
Click it.
Well, send a message. What do you mean send a message?
Where you type in in the Twitter feed. Do you see that?
Like right
You
there.
see that? Click it.
Oh, it's a little.
It's a cheat sheet.
It's a little cheat sheet. Good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How about that, huh?
See, I'm gone for a while, and everything kind of goes crazy here.
Yep. So, babe, and now you can just hit the @ symbol, and it'll actually start. It'll auto complete people who are in the room. Like if I go just type in the app symbol and then look at all the names that come up.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're getting better.
Well, Sean, I know you've talked about it on some of your shows before, but I just want to hear about your Vegas trip again. It's exciting.
So I went to Vegas, and it was for work. It really was. It just so happens that I went to Vegas the weekend of Halloween. Let me tell you, if you think Vegas is crazy normally, you should be there on Halloween. I can't even describe some of the things I saw. So went there for a conference for critical care nurses. Sadly, the conference itself wasn't a whole lot to write home about. I was jealous of you because I've seen numerous times how you attend a conference, and there's always a cool hashtag to follow, and you can tweet it out and on Facebook, and there's usually some sort of online discussion somewhere. And my entire conference, I was the only one who talked about it the whole time. The very last day, I convinced a older gentleman who didn't even know what Twitter was until I told him what it was, and he signed up for Twitter. And then the next day, he sent out a couple updates and tweets concerning the conference. But it was a very big letdown from an online social media perspective. I was expecting a whole lot more out of that. So, but I mean, the conference was okay. So,
would you go back?
I wouldn't go back to Vegas for it. If I were to go for it again, it would be much closer. So,
but you went to the same conference like 10 years ago or something like that. Is that right? Or
no, never been to that conference before.
You haven't been to an out of town conference for a long time.
Correct. Yeah. So all the conferences I've been to in the past several years have been local or somewhere where I can just drive instead of having to stay over in a hotel. So I guess you can call that local, but I'd be willing to drive 2 or 3 hours to a conference if it was worth it. So,
and how was the first class there, Sean?
Oh man, I tell you, it was so good. I had to not only write a blog post about it, but I also talked about it in my podcast. So I mean, did we talk about this once already?
Yeah, we'll talk
you
about
and I.
it again.
Yeah, you and I. Yeah. I decided to upgrade to first class because my flight back was like 5+ hours long, and I had the funds for the first time in a long time. So I decided to upgrade to first class, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. It was hilarious because I literally showed up, because when I travel comfortably, meaning I wear my gym rat clothes. I don't wear suits and ties. I don't wear scrubs. I don't wear casual business attire. I show up in sweats, tennis shoes, and sweatshirt. Because if I'm going to be in an uncomfortable plane for hours, I'm going to wear comfortable clothing. And I ended up sitting next to a gentleman who is definitely a businessman who is got frequent flyer miles, because business attire, laptop, the whole 9 yards. And when I went to the window seat where he was sitting, the dirty look I got was hilarious. He was like, I could see him looking at me going, "Do you know where you are?" But it was nice. 5+ hour flight, got to watch 2 free movies. I think I had free Wi-Fi too. Did I have free?
Nice.
Nice. And the seating, ridiculous to how comfortable it was. So we're flying on vacation to Cancun in 2 weeks, and it's not going to be first class, so I have to suck it up
You'd be slumming it.
Slumming it, yes.
You'd be
So
slumming
I
it.
don't know the next time I'll fly first class, so I was enjoying it while I could.
Nice, nice.
Yes, with the commoners.
That's right. That's right. All right, so let's do one last topic here, and we'll call it a show. And let's kind of look ahead here. As people know, sometimes we're very regimented and we have like show prep. This is like totally random. So I'm springing this right on Sean right now.
Oh no.
But since it's December, why don't we kind of leap forward to 2016 when it comes to social media and medicine and nursing, and get our kind of crystal balls out and trying to make some predictions for what's going to happen next year. And nobody's talking about this yet. They'll probably be talking about this in like 2 weeks. So we are getting the jump on this. As far as guesses, as far as what's going to happen. And I'll go first because I'm springing this on Sean.
I have no idea what I'm just gonna let you roll with this one there.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So 2015, for good or bad, we've seen, the emergence of things like this, wearables, people have been using Fitbits for a long time, but we've seen a lot more wearables, whether it's on your wrist or on your hip or that type of thing.
I don't know if you see it in there or not.
I do see it. I do. What is that anyway?
This is called. Let's see if it light up. You can see it light up there. It's called a Misfit.
Misfit.
It's a Fitbit, but it's a type of Fitbit. So, and it's something like this is just see if I can show you, but this thing comes off. So it comes out. Can you see that? Yeah. So the disc, it's just the disc is the actual the wearable or the piece of equipment that monitors whatever I do. But I can take this thing anywhere I go. It has a clip that goes with it, so I can take it off of this wrist band and clip it onto my shirt or on my waist, and I can wear it to sleep in, and I can also wear it swimming. I bought it for that, for those two reasons, for be able to, because I swim now. I started swimming again, and I use it for monitoring my sleep because I have severe insomnia. So I track my sleeping patterns as well.
So that thing, so it gives you sleep information. Mm-hmm. What other kind of trackable information do you have?
It can count my steps. So it can count my steps. It'll calculate how many calories you burn. The downside to it is it doesn't, me being the weightlifter I am, it doesn't, there's no setting in calories lifting weights today. It only does cardiovascular stuff. So running, biking, jumping, swimming, soccer, dancing, stuff like that. But it doesn't let me log an activity of anaerobic activities. So
wait. So so there's a dancing metric on that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's not a metric. It's saying that I danced for 45 minutes, kind of thing. That's what it is.
And does it say what type of dancing?
It just says dancing.
Is it like break dancing? Is it like ballroom dancing? No. Is it like so you think you can dance dancing?
Nope. It also has soccer and tennis on there too. So yeah.
Oh, so
and yoga.
Oh, so how much yoga have you done?
None. Although I'm very interested in trying it. I think that's going to be my New Year's resolution is to step outside of my comfort zone and actually try it.
Oh, well, yeah. My wife is a yoga teacher, so that's
yeah.
That's a lot. That's way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I tried it once in my life before, and it destroyed me. So, I have to try it. So I know it's good for me.
So how do you utilize that information then? I mean, do you check it on a daily basis or check it on a weekly
I
basis?
check it
Like,
on
how
a
do you do
daily
that?
or weekly basis. I like to look at, how many. Quite honestly, I was curious how many steps a nurse takes in one day on a
Mm-hmm.
regular day, and on average, I'm taking 8,000 steps a day.
Mm-hmm.
In a 10-hour shift, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm not even a bedside nurse anymore. And as a nurse practitioner, I stepped greater than 8,000 steps in one day of work. So I find that information intriguing, and
Mm-hmm.
also I like how it monitors my sleep more than anything.
Now,
And
I have a lot of my patients who have an app where they can enter their diet as well. Do you utilize that at all?
I can put that on there, but that doesn't. This is not going to help me eat better.
Well,
I know what my bad habits are. So
yeah. Well, some people really track, the calories that they use and the calories that they take in, and you probably know people like that. You probably train people like that
mhm.
who are very, very, granular as
Mm,
far as that. But
drive you nuts.
yeah, it would drive me nuts too.
Uh, it's not about the calories. It's not about the total calories. It's the type of calories.
Right. Right.
So, and maybe in another 5 or 10 years, maybe our society will figure that one out. But it has nothing to do with pure science and subtraction and addition of if I burn this many calories and I don't eat that many calories, then I lose weight. And it has everything to do with the quality of the food you eat. So a ton of crap is the same thing as half a ton of crap, as opposed to
That's
a ton.
tweetable right there.
Mm-hmm.
Tweet that out, kids.
Hey man, isn't it GIGO? Garbage in, garbage out. It's really that simple, man.
And shout out to everybody in the chat room. I'm trying to keep up with all the discussion here.
Canuck Runner doesn't agree with my assessment when it comes to calories. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
uh,
I guess you say nutrient dense and I say quality. How's that?
wow.
Because that's basically we're both getting to the end result, the same end result. So
Yeah. So
process first, not processed. So don't eat it out of a can.
So I think 2015 really saw a lot more awareness of a lot of these type of wearable, devices. And I think next year's is going to be the same. Usually January is the Consumer Electronics Show, which I want to be at one of these days. And sometimes they have, more type of fitness, type of things, which I always try to keep track of. I have people and patients who ask me about apps all the time. They ask me about wearables. You probably have those discussions too with some of the people that you see or that you work with. I think that's going to continue. From a consumer standpoint, it's going to be interesting to kind of see what some of these new type of things that come out that people can wear that can track their fitness. I think that's going to be a continuing trend. And as these smartphones get smarter, there's going to be more and more things that they're going to be able to do and to be able to track. And for me, everybody complains to me that it doesn't really, accurately, count the amount of steps. I mean, for me, I don't really care about that. For me, it's kind of a reminder, that either that you should be, more active or you're less active. I
think it's just another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're going to rely on a electronic device on your wrist to be the savior for your fitness level, then you have a lot more going on than just your weight. It's tools in your toolbox. Ultimately, the best tool in your toolbox is what's right up in here. So, I mean, go back to being a nurse. Nurses are taught from day one to utilize your resources. So tool is only as good as you know how to utilize it. So data means nothing if you're not going to do anything with it.
Right.
So
right. And from a medicine and social media type of aspect, I mean, I think you remarked about this, about or during your Las Vegas conference. I mean, I'm seeing more and more conferences, if they're able to, putting their stuff online, whether it's live video streaming or, Twitter updates. What is the real value of personally having an in-person type of conference, which I think is a great discussion to have, because I see kind of both ways, and I've experienced both ways. Obviously I can't go to every conference. I would love to go to every conference, but I actually have to work.
What?
I know, but people think I'm at every conference. That's what's awesome about it.
Yeah.
But you can get a lot of the information. If the conference does have the funding to do a live video stream, that's awesome. To kind of get the content that way. If people are tweeting at the conference, I know the conference you were at were not, but we're seeing more and more of these type conferences getting that information out there.
So isn't that what's awesome though? Is that I don't have to physically attend the conference, but if they're willing to put out the hashtag on the Twitter and they're having an enriching conversation regarding whatever topic that may be, I can benefit from that, and I don't even have to attend the conference. So the amount of education that you can disperse is limitless.
Oh yeah. And actually, Marianne was getting to my other point is that, the other side of that is I love actually physically going to the conference, and, the value to me, the secondary value to me, I mean, obviously the content is the first thing, but the networking and the people that you meet and the connections that you make, sometimes you get friends for life or you get connections for life. And that's the other side of that coin. And there's been a lot of conferences that I've been at, where sometimes I don't go to all the sessions, but I just end up talking to people and making connections. And actually, sometimes the real conference is at the bar, where we would consume adult beverages. But then you would talk to people about.
That's one of the conference room names, right? The bar.
That's right. But just like you were getting to before, is those kind of those war stories, from whatever industry you're at. You get to relate to those people, and you get to hear their stories, or you get to write a blog post about it, or get them to be a podcast guest. So there's definitely value to going into that, but the trend I'm seeing, and I don't know if it's a good or bad trend, but more of these conferences are going digital, and I think that's good from some aspects.
I ask you this question because you've attended way more conferences than I have. Have you ever been to a conference where there's actually been a table for people to leave their business cards?
Sometimes
for like a networking kind of deal, meaning like if you want one, you can leave one, or if you're interested in connecting, there's business cards there for you.
Either that, or there's like a board where you can put your stuff up. Or I've even had some conferences where people just randomly put their names up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be in the lobby at 6 this evening. If people want to go to dinner, we have reservations at this restaurant, and if there are 6 people, then we'll all go." And that's how you kind of meet new people. So some of these conferences are having creative ways on how to network with people, and other conferences don't really give a crap and don't even care about networking.
Yeah. The conference that I attended, there was no social mixer. There was no scheduled social mixer. Is that common or uncommon?
That's common.
It is. Okay.
That's common. Yeah. At least in the meetings that I go to, is that they just kind of, some conferences, they don't want to schedule your entire time. They want you to kind of find stuff to do on your own. But sometimes
what I'm saying is, like, if you get the itinerary for the number of days you're there, but the 2 conferences that I had scheduled myself this past year that I couldn't go to, both conferences actually had a scheduled social mixer, and it was actually called a social mixer, and it was people, could attend if they wanted to or not attend. And I'm wondering why that's not more common.
Mm-hmm.
That you put it out there as an offer. It's not mandatory in any way, but if you're interested in networking, you're interested in meeting new people and, making those connections that, hey, by the way, we're going to have a social dinner for the next hour on Thursday night at 6 p.m. after the conference. Come out if interested.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even have to be funded by the organization. It could just be a sign up. BYOB, take your pick. It doesn't matter. It's just, I think that should be standard. I think it should be mandatory.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean there. In conferences where I have seen other people tweeting or using the Twitter, as the kids say,
Twitter.
We try to organize kind of our own little tweet up, and sometimes that works. But obviously, people have to be on Twitter to kind of make that happen. I
think that's what I was bummed out about mostly, and I don't know if it's, and this is me being very stereotypical, is that I attended this conference with a lot of young people. So, and it was Vegas. So
you were the old guy.
I was the old guy. I wasn't the old creepy guy, but I was the old guy. But I wasn't the oldest guy.
And you were that guy.
I was that guy. I was that guy, sadly. So maybe it was because it was Vegas and there was way more to do than socialize with the people that you just spent the whole day with in a conference. So
that's kind of how I feel.
It could be that way. Yeah. So I understand that.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing that I'll bring up is our returning conversation of the long form blog post, which we bring up every year.
I'm still doing it. I mean,
not coming back.
Yeah, I'm still doing it. You're the one that's not keeping up your end of the bargain here. You're the one that's not keeping your end of the bargain. I mean, heck, I'm putting up blog posts, and on top of that, I'm actually putting up blog carnival posts every month.
I know, man.
No matter how late they are, they're going up.
I know, man.
This month's Change of Shift blog carnival post, I created it and put it up in 1 hour.
Wow.
It was that late because I just finished my week of my 5-day stretch and the holidays, and I got home that night, and it dawned on me that it was December 1st, and I was like, oh crap. I haven't done the Change of Shift yet. Oh crap. So yeah, I stayed up late enough to get the blog post out. I think it literally did it in like maybe might have taken me 2 hours.
Yeah.
So the quality wasn't the greatest, but got it out there. So I don't know if we're talking about long form blogging. I put up a blog post a little while ago that was a little had a hidden meaning behind it. I don't know if you saw it. It was titled "Playing Nice in the Sandbox."
No, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna copy it because it only a small number of people actually got the hidden meaning and the joke behind it. So, and I posted that after a tough day at work. I have come to the realization, I have finally accepted that I am an organic blogger. I suck at content scheduling. I can't schedule posts 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time. I just can't do it. I've tried. I can't do it.
No, I've evolved into that, maybe because I'm lazy. But it's kind of inspirational type of writing. You just get this thought in your head, you can't let go of it, and then you just write about it, and then you let it go. And then you don't write for a month. I haven't written for a month. I should write tonight about something.
Hint.
And this is like a lot of words there, Sean. What's it say? 700.
This is a lot of words there.
799 words.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah, I'll have to.
Hey, you said You wanted long
there you
form.
go. There you go.
So I'm still doing it.
I
Hint,
know.
hint.
I know.
So in answer to your prolific question about 2016 predictions, I predict that podcast is going to take the place of blogging.
Interesting. Interesting.
I think it'll take all year, but I think the popularity that blogging had years ago, that still does to a certain degree, I truly believe that podcasting is going to make that kind of impact next year. Because in the short time that I've spent developing mine, I'm just noticing the interest level gets getting higher and higher every time I talk to somebody. And what's really cool is that there's not a lot of healthcare related podcasts out there. Hint, hint, Mike.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
what's interesting for me personally, as I don't know, what do you want to call it, a podcaster or whatever, is
oh, you're a podcaster. Look at your microphone.
is my friends and colleagues in my specialty have introduced me to more international people in primary care and family medicine, which is really cool. And I see myself doing more interviews with those type of people. Last weekend I did a short chat with a new friend from Twitter who is a general practitioner from Ireland, who I got introduced to on Twitter. And before that, I did an interview with from a family medicine meeting in Turkey, and it's really cool how the world gets smaller as you talk to people around the world. And for me personally, I think 2016 I'm going to be doing that more. That's going to be an exciting new thing for me to get into, talking to different people around the world, and it's so interesting that even though they're in a different place, the issues are the same. And it may just be different governmental type restrictions, but it's kind of the same problems. And when we talk about solutions, a lot of them are the same solutions, and it's kind of cool.
And Marianne was commenting that she thinks that the video podcasting is going to increase. I would tend to agree. I just wonder how that's going to play with YouTube. Meaning that there are some people that make their living on YouTube, and people are starting to branch out using the video podcasting. Like we talked about it earlier, like Gary V, he does it. So he does it very well. And that's his job. He's like one of the best marketers out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm interested to see where social media goes this year. I think finally people are finally figuring out how powerful social media really can be. And case in point, whenever I want a piece of news, I don't go to the news channels. You know where I go? Facebook.
Right, Twitter.
Twitter and Facebook is where I go to find my breaking news. Twitter and Facebook is where I get all of the live breaking stories, like the I hate, and it's horrible that we have to say this out loud, but the most recent shooting tragedy, I first heard of it on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Facebook was the first place I heard of it. And then hours or half a day later, I finally saw it on like one of the news stations or the news channel. So it's amazing. It's good and bad. So I think we're going to have to figure out a way how to monitor and tame it too. So.
Right. And how, big industry is going to utilize it to try to, and we saw this in the blogging world, how they drown out the kind of small independent people, and how that's going to affect things. So yeah, I mean, this just following these type of trends, and even things like like they're talking about Periscope. The even new platforms that are out there and how they're going to be influencing things. You and I have talked about Periscope before, and we've kind of experimented with them in the past. And it's a newer platform to me, and I'm still trying to figure out how to utilize it for me for its fullest potential, and that'll be kind of interesting to how to use not only video but live video like Periscope, and how to utilize that for our social media goals.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering. Periscope versus you can do live YouTube, right?
Yep.
Can't you do live YouTube? Yeah. So I mean, I guess it would depend on what platform and what you're using it for. So I don't know. I'm not big enough yet to use Periscope. I don't have enough followers, not enough interest. So I would like to use it. I would love to use it to have live conversations with fans or followers or friends. That would be cool. So I just know in my bones, if I tweet out or send it on a Facebook status message, hey, I'm gonna go live on Periscope, come join me, you're gonna hear crickets. Yeah. You're just gonna hear nobody here, just me. So okay, that was fun, thanks. It's really the way it's going to happen if I were to ever do Periscope. So,
before we close things up, I did want to let you know I really enjoyed your interview with Mighty Nurse Megan. She was awesome.
Yeah, she's inspiring.
She's driven.
Like yes.
Yes. I'm intimidated with her drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, I want to do more interviews. Maybe it's just the time of the year with the holidays. Everybody has either not enough time or they're taking a break and they want to do other things. But hopefully at the beginning of the year, we'll pick things back up with interviews. I have a couple people that I've been messaging with back and forth. I don't know how you do that, but I've tried scheduling apps. I've tried everything, but I just can't seem to get dates set for people that are interested who want to come on the show. Just can't seem to find a good happy medium of making time.
Yeah, it's tough. The toughest thing is matching schedules. But yeah, we can talk about that offline as far as some things that I've tried. But before we close things up, why don't you tell people about the change of shift podcast and where they can find it and all that good stuff.
My podcast is called The Change of Shift Podcast. You can find us on thechangeofshift.com. We're on every podcatcher known to man. So if you go to iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud, Spreaker, take your pick. All you have to do is type in The Change of Shift Podcast and you'll see our wonderful little icon. We are a healthcare and nursing related podcast where nursing meets the internet is our tagline. We talk about hot topics and give actionable information to anyone working in healthcare, most specifically to nurses.
And not only and just let people know out there, I enjoy the interviews, but I also enjoy Sean's kind of monologues and commentary, which is also very good. Which is also usually pretty spontaneous, yes. Which is kind of cool. I have to start doing that too. So yeah, you should definitely check that out. And follow him on Twitter, Sean P. Dent on Twitter. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. I finally have embraced my middle initial. What about you, Mike? Are you still you're still on Dr. Mike Sevilla?
So people can find me at drmikesevilla.com. When I do write a blog post, which I will tonight about something. So I have That is the central hub where you can find me. You can follow me on Twitter. Me and my 23,000 Twitter followers there. And when I do a podcast, I cross post it,
celebrity status right there.
Put it on the blog, and you can find me on iTunes as well. And yeah, it's just as the new year comes, I just have these new ideas, and I know you do too, Sean, about how to do cool stuff. But I just feel very blessed and lucky that people still want to hear what I want to say. And it's a big shout out to everybody who's listening and to this now and listening to it later and reading it to it later. And it's been such a fun time. So anything else before we hit the stop button here, Sean, on this spontaneous?
No as always. No, as always, absolutely enjoy hanging out with you, Mike.
So yeah, that's all we have for us. Hopefully, when do you go on your vacation there? Maybe we can squeeze another show in there.
Oh, I will be on the sand on Christmas Day. Promised my wife that we would spend at least one Christmas holiday basking in the sun. So we're doing that with the rest of the family this year. Going on to Cancun for a week, the week of Christmas.
Wow. So you probably had to request that time off months in advance, probably.
Oh, I requested this vacation off in March,
and they gave it to you. So that's nice.
Yeah. I'm almost the senior personnel now. There's only one more person who's more senior than me. So
nice.
I don't know if that's good or bad yet.
So we thank everybody for joining us here, either live or on the archive thing. And we're at the very, very end of this show. I will share with you that maybe 2016 there'll be more collaborations with Sean P. Dent and me. So
want to give a shout out to Marianne. She was chatting away in the chat room.
That's right. Thanks for everybody's comments, and I think we got people to watch us tonight there, Sean. So
we did.
Saturday night is always a good time.
It's because of your 25,000 Twitter follow. Sure wasn't me. I don't even have a third of that number.
So if people like Marianne want to, yeah, that's right. See, bringing me down, bringing me down to earth. Need to be verified. That's right.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so if people want to chime in afterward, I'm going to hit stop, and then if people want to jump on the blab, we'll do that here. So good night. Say good night, Sean.
Good night, Sean.
See you all very soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.